Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still rejecting from this massive resistance in the short term, the price is now running into a crucial level in the immediate short term that we need to pay attention to after just perfectly wiping out this exact level of liquidity in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum still retesting this crucial level on the price chart, while the price of XRP is sitting on the edge of a cliff. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend or a larger correction in the price of Bitcoin. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence playing out on the much larger time frames. Of course, this is not a short-term signal, but it has been perfectly playing out over the last couple of months now, as I actually warned about a couple of months ago, since before all of this started to play out. And so I'm saying right now it is technically still active, which means it is continuing to play out and could continue to play out in the next few months, for example. But if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, just in the somewhat short to mid-term, over a period of weeks, we have been playing out this shorter term oversold signal in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And the last couple of times this happened was during the 2022 bear market. So this is not necessarily a bottom signal signaling the bottom, but what it does mean is that we're likely going to see either a sideways consolidation or a bit of a bullish relief, maybe just for the next few weeks, considering this is on the 3-day time frame. And once again, this confirmed around 2 to 3 weeks ago, and has been perfectly playing out over the last 2 to 3 weeks in the form of just a shorter term bullish relief, at least up until we ran into this area, which has been acting as strong resistance here on the daily Bitcoin price chart, which is still sitting in between 92,000 to 94,000. So once again, over the last couple of weeks from this previous local low down here a few weeks ago, we can indeed see a shorter term bullish relief as expected, thanks to this oversold signal playing out. But once again, as I just said, and as I've said many times over the last couple of weeks, we have a lot of resistance in between 92,000 to 94,000, which is the major obstacle and what is right now preventing the price from going any higher. And as for supports, based on this Fibonacci retracement tool here, we have a lot of support at give or take 85,000. But if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can see this ascending line of support right here, which is currently sitting at just above 88,000, really in between around 88,000 to 88.5k. Expect support around here on the price chart, which, as recording in this video, we're pretty much testing this support right now. And obviously, over the last few weeks, even though the price of Bitcoin has been struggling a lot in this resistance, which is to be expected, once again, in between 92 to 94,000, even though that is still the case right now for the price of Bitcoin, of course, over the last few weeks, we have been forming higher lows, obviously holding above this ascending line of support, each low higher than the last, as we could see. And so for as long as this continues, for as long as we continue to form higher lows and hold above this ascending line of support, then eventually we'll put more and more pressure on this resistance as we see more tests of that resistance, and that can actually weaken the resistance, increasing the probability of a breakout. But for that to happen, once again, we need to hold above this level, which we are testing right now at just above 88,000. And obviously this slight little dip over the last 1 day or so was exactly predicted in my last video here on the channel, due to the fact that we have a lot of liquidity, or I should say we had a lot of liquidity over the last few days, building just below the price of Bitcoin at around 89,000 and slightly below 89,000. So like I predicted yesterday, and in fact over the last 2 days here on the channel, I said it's actually quite likely that in the next couple of days here in the short term, expect a slight little dip to take out that liquidity. And now since then, of course, that's exactly what has played out. And so for the bulls out there, of course, we now simply just need to hold this level on the price chart, ideally holding above this ascending line of support in order to remain in this ascending triangle formation, ascending triangle pattern, because keep in mind, we still have a lot of liquidity building at around 94.7k, but we also have a smaller amount starting to build around 86.7k. So keep that in mind. That is basically a building price target, but so far the main level to focus on still sitting at 94. 94.7k now that we've already wiped out that level over the last one day at close to 89,000. But of course, if we actually confirm candle closes in the price of Bitcoin below around 88,000, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, start to form some new lower highs, lower lows here in the shorter term on the 6-hour chart, 4-hour chart, etc., then in that situation, of course, that will officially be a breakdown of this short-term bullish price structure, ultimately continuing the larger bearish trends that we've already been in over the last couple of months. Remember, understand the difference between the different time frames. The bigger picture still looking quite weak, not looking too good. The shorter term situation just for the last few weeks has of course been in a shorter term bullish relief or a short term bullish trend, and that will potentially end. We could potentially start to continue more of a bearish trend if we confirm a break below this level. So this is definitely a crucial level in the price chart to pay attention to at, once again, just above 88,000. And like I've said many times over the last few days, if we actually confirm a breakout above 94,000, so if we hold this level that we're testing right now and then ultimately break out above the strong resistance at 92 to 94,000, in that situation, the next immediate significant resistance to watch out for would be sitting at around 99 to 100,000, and the technical price target for that breakout right there would be sitting at closer towards 106 to 107,000. But remember, we still have a lot of resistance in this area at 92,000 to 94,000 to pay attention to first. But of course, you could take advantage of the next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin, whether it's bullish or bearish. For example, if we confirm the break below this support, that could potentially activate a bit of a short position opportunity, and vice versa. If we break above the resistance, that can activate a long position opportunity. Not financial advice, but we can basically just wait to see one of these signals confirm in order to enter a potential trading opportunity and then just trade in the direction that we are breaking. Because in case you're new to all of this, yes, even during bearish price action, you can profit from Bitcoin and crypto using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way towards the downside, as just one basic example of how to profit during a bearish movement. And so if you haven't done so already, this is definitely the time to get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of the next potential trading opportunity in the price of any crypto. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some massive bonuses that are only available using that link. For example, if you make an account using that link, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And on top of that, there's deposit bonuses. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. This is basically free money from the exchange, which you can then go ahead to actually use to open a Bitcoin trade, for example, if you want to. Not financial advice. But of course, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take that next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin or any crypto, you might as well take advantage of this using that first link below this video. But if you want a no KYC crypto exchange to also place long positions, short positions on, etc., then for that, check out the second link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. That second link will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where you'd also take advantage of exclusive bonuses that are only available using that link. And on top of those exclusive bonuses, there's also currently this trade protection and recovery fund happening in this limited time event. And so as you can see here, if you're a new user making your account during this event, for the first 7 days of futures trading, you can get up to 200 USDT in trial funds from basically a loss protection. So if you're losing money, you can get that money back in trial funds in the first 7 days of trading on your account during this event right here. And on top of that, if your account has total liquidations over 50 USDT during this event, then you may also be eligible for recovery compensation up to 1,000 USDT depending on your liquidation. And so obviously this is just extra bonuses that you could take advantage of if you want to, using that second link below this video. So especially if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of this using that second link below the video. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and right now the Bitcoin dominance is still looking very neutral. We're basically lacking momentum to either direction. We currently, at least in the shorter term, don't have a lot of bearish momentum or a lot of bullish momentum for the Bitcoin dominance. And so that basically just tells us that a lot of the major altcoins out there on average, of course there can always be outliers, but a lot of the major altcoins on average will likely be performing very similar similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily much better or much worse. And so with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH alongside Bitcoin testing important support in the short term, Ethereum is also testing a crucial level on the price chart, which is really an area in between around 3,000 to 3.1k, and for now is acting as strong support for Ethereum in between 3,000 to 3.1k, and previously it was also resistance a couple of weeks ago. And so obviously, just like how it's quite important for Bitcoin to hold this as support here in the short term, of course it's also important for Ethereum to hold this as support here in the shorter term for the next few days or so, because for example, if the price of ETH actually confirms a daily candle close, let's just say below 3,000, and then especially if we fail to get back above that area, in that situation, at least in the shorter term for the following days or maybe the next couple of weeks, that'll be a shorter term bearish signal pointing towards a continued pullback, most likely back down towards these previous lows at give or take 2.7k. So basically that's where I'll be targeting next if we first confirm the break below around 3,000. But for now, once again, we're still finding support in between 3,000 to 3.1k, at least so far. And if we're taking a look at the 4-hour Ethereum price chart, looking at the shorter term, of course, over the last few days or so, we have already been cooling off from that previous overbought signal that I warned about all the way back up here, predicting a bit of a cool off over the next couple of days. So obviously, now that that's happening, right now, we're simply just lacking momentum to either direction, at least in the imminent short term for Ethereum. Right now, obviously, we're looking quite flat. We don't have a lot of bullish or a lot of bearish momentum. And honestly, we'll likely continue to see similar sort of price action to what we're seeing right now. We'll likely continue this at least over the next one day or so until the stock market starts opening back up again. We'll likely continue to see relatively boring price action in the shorter term. And then depending on what the US stock market does when it starts opening back up again in the new week, of course, that could start to increase some volatility in the short term. And obviously also pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing. For example, if Bitcoin actually breaks below this support that we're testing right now as of recording this video, if Bitcoin breaks below this level, then that will increase the probability that Ethereum will also play out a bit of bearish price action. So even if you're not holding any Bitcoin or not interested in Bitcoin, still at least pay attention to what Bitcoin does here to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of major altcoins. But for now, kind of just expect more of the same, at least over the next 12 to 24 hours. And if we're taking a look at the 2-day Solana price chart, the price of Solana is still, at least for now, in the same sideways price range that I've been talking about for weeks now on the channel, in between this support and this resistance. First of all, this support is still sitting in between around 124 to 128, and this resistance is still sitting in between around 143 to 147. So continue to expect bounces around this support and rejections from around this resistance. And overall, the shorter term trend is simply lacking momentum to either direction. We don't have a lot of bearish momentum or a lot of bullish momentum, at least right now. But once again, when it comes to altcoins here, definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin does, especially around this support and around these previous lows. If Bitcoin continues a breakdown, which it is getting potentially very close to this, if Bitcoin breaks below all of this right here, then that will increase the probability. We could also see some breaks to the downside for a lot of these altcoins like Solana, for example. So of course, at least for now, still expect support at 124 to 128, but let's just say if we see a bit of a breakdown below 124 with candle closes below that level, and especially if we fail to get back above that support, in that situation, the next potential support will be sitting at around 112 based on this previous candle wick low, but honestly will most likely drop down towards in between $100 to $105 as the next major support towards the downside if we first confirm the break below around 124. And so those are the next potential price targets for the price of Solana to the downside if, of course, we first confirm the break below around 124. But at least for now, obviously, considering we're still holding above that level, we're still in the same sideways price range. So not a lot has changed over the last one day for the price of Solana. So getting straight into the price of XRP on the weekly time frame. And at least for now, we're still playing out this massive longer term bearish divergence on the weekly XRP price chart, which I did actually warn about here on the channel many months ago, since basically end of July, early August. You can even watch my videos back then. They're all still public, warning about a multi-month pullback coming very soon over the next few months, when pretty much no one else out there was predicting that. Everyone told me I was crazy for predicting this massive pullback over the next few months, but obviously now that that's played out as predicted, I continue to predict this moving forward. It does not end here. In fact, if we break below this support, which we're running into right now, we are potentially sitting on the edge of a major cliff for the price of XRP. So in a few months from now, if we're at much lower prices, don't say I didn't warn you. And so once again, right now in the immediate short term, this is the last hope for XRP, in between around $1.80 to $2. So of course it is possible we could find support in this area, considering this is an area that has provided a lot of support over the last basically 1 year, in between $1.80 to $2. But if we break below this area, especially with a weekly candle close below $1.80, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, basically if we lose this as support, in that situation, expect a massive bearish move for the price of XRP, most likely playing out over multiple months. And just to give you an idea of what sort of price targets I'll be looking at if we start to play out that scenario, I'll be targeting around $1 or lower. That is right, potentially below $1 for the price of XRP could be coming in the next few months or so. If we first confirm the break, I want to make this clear, if we first confirm the break below $1.80 to $2, for now, that is still major support to watch out for, which we are testing right now, but we are potentially sitting on the edge of a cliff. If we fail to hold this right now as support over the coming weeks, and we see, for example, once again, as I said earlier, a weekly candle close below $1.80, in that situation, that'll be very bad news for the next multiple months for the price of XRP. And of course, in the somewhat shorter term, from time to time, during the larger multi-month bearish trend, which is still the case right now, from time to time in the short term, we can see short-term bullish reliefs or choppy sideways price action here and there along the way towards the downside. Obviously, it's not a straight line down. And so as we can see, just over the last few weeks or so, we have been playing out a little bit of a sideways consolidation thanks to this smaller bullish divergence just playing out in the shorter term over just a couple of weeks or so. But it is looking likely now that this is basically about to invalidate. If we start to see a breakdown below this previous low in the price, then that will officially invalidate the bullish divergence. And it's possible, actually, if we form a slight lower low in the price while the RSI is still forming higher lows, it's possible we could reconfirm another short-term bullish divergence, maybe play out a little bit more choppy sideways price action just in the shorter term. But remember, this is a shorter term signal. The longer term situation still not looking too good. And so as for support and resistance to watch out for, right now we're actually starting to break below that $2 support level. So in the shorter term, I would expect some support at around $1.94 to $1.95 based on this previous low, based on the candle closes on the daily time frame. And below $1.94 to $1.95, the next major support is at close to $1.80. Once again, on the larger time frames, really anything in between $1.80 to $2 will likely be a major area to watch out for, which previously has been acting as strong support. But like I said earlier, if we break below $1.80 and fail to get back above that area, that'll be very bad news for XRP. And as for resistance to watch out for, if we see any little bounce here, expect some resistance at around $2.05 and a lot of resistance really in between $2.15 to $2.20. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, right now Chainlink is also testing an important level of support in the short term at roughly around $13.40, and we are getting potentially very close to breaking below that support, but for now that's not yet confirmed. But if we actually confirm a daily candle close back below around $13.40, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation it'll be very likely that over the coming days, maybe over the next 1 week or so, we'll see a drop back down towards these previous lows, which are sitting at close to $12, just above $12. And so once again, if we first confirm the break below around $13.40 and especially fail to get back above that level, in that situation, I will be targeting around $12 to $12.20 in that area right there, just above $12 as the next major support. And as for resistance to watch out for, of course, if we first confirm the break below 1340, which for now has not happened, but if that happens, then that will likely flip into new resistance. But for now, considering we've not yet broken that level, the immediate resistance to watch out for is still sitting at close to $15 as massive resistance. And remember, as I said earlier in the video, when it comes to altcoins testing these important levels on the price chart, definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin does, especially at this support here, because like I said earlier, if Bitcoin breaks to the downside with confirmation, so candle closes confirming a break below this support, and especially if we break below these previous lows in the price of Bitcoin, then that will significantly increase the probability we'll also see something very similar for a lot of these major altcoins. But remember, even during bearish price action, you can continue to profit in the crypto market using things like short positions, for example. So if you haven't done so already, get set up ready to go using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price does here, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.